A truly extraordinary day. England adding 104 runs in the morning session, with Ollie Pope producing one of the great centuries by an Englishman in India, 196, as England totalled 420. Wonderful contributions as well, and critical in the end from Rian Ahmed, who added 64 for the 7th wicket. He made 28, and Tom Hartley, who was later to go on to claim 7 for 62 on his Test debut, started the day with another critical contribution with the bat of 34, over 50 runs in the Test match for him. India limped to 42 for 2 and 63 for 3, with Hartley taking all of the first 3 wickets. Thereafter, it was a struggle against Hartley and the whole England attack. Shikhar Bharat, the keeper, and R. Ashwin dragged India back into the game from 119 for 7 to 176 for 8, when it was Hartley who made the critical breakthrough, having Shikhar Bharat bowled for 28. In the end, the extra half hour had to be claimed, and it was the very last over of that last 8 that produced the final wicket, claimed appropriately by Tom Hartley, who had Mohammad Siraj stumped by Ben Foakes for 12. 202 all out. India have been shocked to the core. England coming back from a first innings deficit of 190 to win a remarkable Test match by 28 runs. As I said, alongside me, Darren Gough and Stephen Harmison. Take a breath, Harmy.
Oh, take a breath. Where do you start? It's just immense pride. I mean, if you were watching this 2 days ago, you were probably looking at it and thinking, yes, England are going to have a struggle in India because the way the pitches are and the gulf and the difference of possibly of the spin bowlers. But looking at it now, it just shows you a team will beat any individuals. And I thought in that third innings, India were a group of individuals. I thought Rohit Sharma's captaincy wasn't up to the standard. I thought the bowlers were scratching their heads looking as to their leader, and he wasn't leading because that was the way England played as a team. I thought they were absolutely magnificent throughout that second half of that Test match. Ollie Pope has played one of the best innings, not just in India but overseas, by an English batter, and Tom Hartley on debut. Once he calmed down, once he got into a rhythm, he got a beautiful line, a beautiful length, and you can see why the selectors identified the tall release point, his ability to bowl it into the ground, and his ability to turn the ball, and he came away with 7 for 62 on debut. You come to India, Coffey said earlier, you dream of making your debut as a spinner in India. There's also pressure on you to perform. And boy, has Tom Hartley performed. Magnificent 4 days for England. One that will go down in living memory for a long, long time to come. And congratulations to Ben Stokes, Brendan McCullum and the England cricket team, because they were simply brilliant.
Yeah, superb. Absolutely top performance to come back from where they were on day 2. And that, I said, deficit of 190 on first innings. To get 420, Indian conditions, the ball turning, 3 world-class spinners for India on patrol. And the way Ollie Pope came to the crease. In fact, let's start before that. The way Duckett and Crawley come to the crease on third innings, total belief and a game plan to reverse sweep the quality spinners that India have. It got them off to a flyer. The momentum carried on through Pope and the rest of the batting lineup, except for the brilliance of Bumrah, getting them back into the game. But to get 420 in the second innings in those conditions, remarkable. And I'm so pleased they've won, because Ollie Pope, if they would have lost that game, many people would have forgot that innings of 196. The fact they've won it, that'll be talked about for years and years and years as a fantastic innings. But then they have to come out and deliver. India chasing 231 bowl them out for 212 with a debutant getting 7 for 62. Outstanding. Absolutely brilliant. A nice mention there as well for Ben Stokes' captaincy, and obviously Joe Root filled in. He's a proper all-rounder in these conditions. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. England lead the series 1-0. Brilliant.
There's so much to discuss, which we shall do over the course of this podcast and over the next few days as we build up to the second Test match in Visakhapatnam, but let's just remind ourselves that England were still 27 runs in arrears when they lost their 5th wicket. So a truly extraordinary effort from Ollie Pope. And we'll speak to Chetan Narula in a moment about Rohit Sharma's captaincy and about how deeply shocked the Indian team will be by this result. But as much as Rohit Sharma failed to react and failed to acknowledge the danger of the reverse sweep, as much as he assumed that a mistake was just around the corner, as much as he has refused to acknowledge the reverse sweep by changing his field, England put that pressure. They put him under so much pressure. I believe that's one of the reasons that he failed to react.
Yeah, 100%. I think India believed they just had to turn up, land a few, they'll get England out and the game will be won and it'll go to Visakhapatnam 1-0. But Goffey said just a second ago, the tone that was set by Zach Crawley and Ben Duckett was unbelievable. 190 deficit after first innings. I cannot, not 1% of my fibres in me will say that Ben Stokes thought he couldn't win that game. He couldn't. That's his belief. And as much as you think, do you know what? He's bluffing. He made 10 other people believe that 190 behind, we can still win this game. And I think that's the resilience of this group. Even at halfway, and it sounds stupid to believe that you could win from 190 behind. I don't even think that Ben Stokes was saying to the players, we are going to win, when people are looking at him going, yeah, righto. I think every single one of them would have been going, yeah, we're going to win. We know how to win this game from here. We are going to win. And that's where they've changed. They've raised the bar so much in such a way where they know how to put pressure on the teams. Forget the scoreboard. It's about the third innings, and we'll get to where the game is once the third innings is finished. And when they got to was 420. Ollie Pope got 196 and said to India, there's 231, over to you. If they had lost from there, I think they would have said we give it everything and we give our best shot and we still believe that we're going to win. But I tell you what, the belief in that dressing room and the resilience from turning a bad day into a good day, that is what makes this team unbelievable.
Chetan Narula, given the nature of the defeat, given the fact that India should have been out of sight, I mean, a 190-run lead is regarded by many people as out of sight, but given the size of the comeback and the nature of the defeat, this will feel like India have gone down 1.5-0.
Absolutely. I think it was a great chance for England to win this first test without Virat Kohli. Obviously, India having dealt that blow. Congratulations to England. I mean, I'm still trying to soak that in. Obviously, just like Hami or Gafi, I mean, while they are trying to soak in the victory, as an Indian cricket lover, I would say, I'm trying to soak in that defeat. I'll tell you my reasons for that. First of all, I'm a Bazball convert now. I had my reservations about Bazball. Why I say reservations? Because obviously we haven't seen it from close quarters as the English cricket fans or the English cricket media have. But we were very excited about Bazball coming to India. And that's where my second point comes. The Indian team did not know what to expect, and they were obviously unprepared.
And when it arrived, they didn't know what to do.
And when it arrived, they did not know what to do. I mentioned earlier, yesterday, in those 2 sessions of play on either side of lunch, Bazball hit India hard. The reverse sweep, they knew what to do to negate India's spinners. India did not have a response then. And today, India did not have a response to negate the English spinners. And that's where the game was lost. We can talk about poor captaincy, poor coaching, in fact. And, all of those things will be talked about if India does lose this series. But there are problems which are quite apparent in the Indian camp. They're trying to just paper over the gaps right now. But the bottom line is, India did not know what to expect from Bazball, and they weren't ready for it.
Just before you jump in, the Bazball that Chetan's talking about, it's like every team's that's come up against England have fallen foul to it the first time they've really not understood it, and that is Rohit Sharma standing at slip, going to Axar Patel. No, it doesn't matter about Ben Duckett's reverse sweep. He lit one up in the air. Not ball, yeah. And that's been labelled at this team so many times. Yeah, Dean Elgar from where you reside in your part of the world, there's nowhere. We just wait till we play against us. There's no way they're going to do that against Rabada. So many times this team has been questioned on that.
They couldn't do it in Pakistan.
They couldn't do it in Pakistan.
3-0.
And they did it. So in this game, there's still a long way to go in this series. But I think Rohit Sharma in that third innings of this Test match was shell-shocked from a captaincy point of view, and I'm not sure he knew what to do to negate the Bazball the positive mentality that England have got. And I think coming from the first Test match, his field setting to see where he is Test match 3 and 4, even next week in Visakhapatnam, to see how he sets his field will be a challenge for the Indian skipper.
Well, they have to go back to the drawing board. I mean, Hami said earlier, this is a team that has won against a set of individuals, and I think India were relying on individual excellence to win this match. They were anticipating that against Ashwin and Jadeja, and you add Akshar Patel to that in the second innings, how can you turn around that big a deficit? Like we mentioned earlier, they were 20 or 30 for 5 essentially, England, and then they went on to take that 200 run target or lead. So India relied on excellence of their individual spinners. They did not have the batters to contest the English spin, and after a very, very long time, India's spinners failed.
Coffee.
I think all teams have to keep evolving, and I think India, they are guilty of believing nobody could play that way against them. I think even Ashwin coming into it, and I'm not criticising him for this, said in an interview, but he don't quite know what's going to happen with Bazball. He's never bowled it, and when they've played in a positive manner, he's used to bowling against England and just let the opposition just let him bowl. But they've come out and they've had a plan against all the spinners. And I think for India now, they've got to realise they've got a battle on their hands. They've got to have plans for every single England player. They've got to believe that this team have come to India to try and win, and to win, not try, to win. And India have to be at their best to beat them. Simple. And I think that's the lesson for everyone, because after day 2, we all thought, it's easy, India win, sorry. But the way England have come back in that third innings, I still can't believe, third innings, 420 in the third innings with the ball turning, keeping a little bit low, but England's batters attacked the spinners and they had no answer. They had no answer whatsoever. Back to the drawing board for India. Virat Kohli, they need him back.
Just having a look at the first innings, it seems like a long time ago now. It was 4 days ago. Ben Stokes is 70 on the first day, rescued England. He batted brilliantly to take them to 246. They were in all sorts of trouble at 125 for 5. In fact, 155 for 7. So to get 246 was thanks almost entirely to Ben Stokes and Tom Hartley, who made 57 runs in the match. India then became the first team ever for 3 of the top 6 to be dismissed in the 80s. 5 men caught on the boundary. I know that Chetan Narula and many other Indian fans were very critical of the sloppiness and the failure to reach 3 figures. Rahul, who pulled a long hop from Hartley out to deep mid-wicket, and then Ravindra Jadeja being dismissed for 87. But still, the lead was 190. That has always been enough. In every Test match in India where they've had a lead of 190, they've won.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling, isn't it? Honestly, it is. It's mind-boggling to here now and digest that England have won this Test match. To get your head around the fact that England have won this Test match from 190 runs behind is frightening. It is. It's frightening to think that India didn't lose this. I think England have won it. England have won this Test match, and you can look at whenever you look at a result, you can pick passages where you go, well, they lost it there, or they won it there, or this team just grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck and they won it. I think England went on to win this Test match, and I think India, you know what? I think they were shell shocked in that middle period. and they didn't have the answer. They're going to have to get the answers very, very quickly. It'll be different in Visakhapatnam, yes, and it'll be different as Virat Kohli comes back and one or two others. But I think there's a seed of doubt now, not only in the bowlers' minds, more importantly, there's a seed of doubt in the minds of Rohit Sharma.
Just one quick one on, if you want to pick one moment for me, which was, besides the brilliance of individuals throughout the game, the one moment that was the biggest game changer for me was the drop catch. The drop catch, Axar Patel. Dropping Ollie Pope, it was a sitter, and he dropped it, and we scored loads of runs after that, and that has cost them in the end. It's cost them. They would have been chasing 175, 185. Instead, they're chasing 230. Might have been chasing less.
Ollie Pope was on 110 and went on to make this extraordinary 196, a career-defining innings. Goffey, Brenda McCullum spoke before the Test match about making players feel 10 feet tall. The man whose job that is on the field is Ben Stokes. His leadership is completely and utterly inspirational. We spoke about the three spinners, one of whom's on debut, one of whom has played one Test match, one of whom hasn't bowled a red ball since June last year. And for him to shepherd them through, to show the confidence, to keep Tom Hartley on when he was going for 9 and 10 and over in his very first innings when he was nervous, and for him to finish the second innings with 7 for 62. Honestly, we use the metaphor about players running through brick walls for captains, but I think they would for Ben Stokes.
Inspirational, isn't he? Inspirational captain. I think the respect he's got now from around the world, the brand of cricket is brought to this team is exceptional. I think there'll be a few IPL teams who'll want him to skipper their side. There's no doubt about that coming up in the next year or so. I can think of one team that might need a new captain quite soon. And to do it with the spinners he's had, Jack Leach, been out injured for such a long period and he's on one leg for this Test match. He's had a Test debutant in Hartley, Rayan, who's in his second Test match, and Joe Root, who didn't even get a mention about his bowling before the Test match. He was a batter. There were 3 and 3 spinners and Joe didn't even get a mention. He just won a Test match in India with those in his lineup. It's unbelievable.
And that comes down to team, Darren.
Yes.
It comes down to team. And that's the beauty about what this environment is. It's about the team. You talk about Hartley, 7 wickets. He's got 60 runs in a Test match. It's about the team. Rian Ahmed, he didn't bowl as well as you would like in the fourth innings, but that innings of Rian Ahmed's 28, Tom Hartley's 34, got England to a position with Ollie Pope to get 231 in front. That's what teams do. That's what great teams do. And great teams need great leaders. And boy, have we got a great leader.
So where to here now? Visakhapatnam is a new Test venue. We do know that it's a red soil pitch as opposed to a black soil pitch, which traditionally means that there will be a little bit more in it for the seamers. Traditionally speaking, there's a little bit more pace and bounce, and Visakhapatnam is not a seam bowler's, fast bowler's graveyard as many other venues have been. So it's not the time for the team to contemplate what they need to get there first. Well, first of all, they need to celebrate, have a good couple of good nights sleep, do whatever they do to relax, digest this, enjoy this moment. The next Test match doesn't begin until next week, but I suspect that England will play a second seamer at least. You would think, Jimmy Anderson.
Yeah, Anderson's coming in. I don't think there's a doubt about that. It's whether they keep Woody in the side or they bring in Gus and or Ollie Robinson. So that'll be the one selection. I think the leg spinner will miss out. Unless, we've got to wait and see where Jack Leach is. He should be fit for next week. I think he bowled actually well there in the second innings, despite carrying an injury. But Anderson will definitely come in. And then it's just how Woody rocks up for the second Test match. I know it's not. He's got an extra day off now, hasn't he? So he hasn't took a wicket this game. So it's whether they just keep freshening it up.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd look at definitely bringing Anderson in. Will it be the leg spinner? I think it probably will be, as much as I think Ben Stokes likes having Rian Ahmed in the team. And he's tried to back him. He tried to get him a wicket there at the end there. But I think 2 and 2 probably looks as though it's Hartley and Leach if fit going into Visakhapatnam. And it's whether Mark Wood can get through back-to-back Test matches. He's put a shift in here. Yeah, I know he hasn't bowled as many overs, but he's worked very, very hard in the overs that he's worked. It's whether they go Atkinson or they go Robinson and go sort of two containing bowlers. That's not what I think Ben Stokes was looking for when the group was picked. But I think if Mark Wood's fit and can go again, I think I would roll him out again, especially 1-0 up.
And confirmation, by the way, that Ollie Pope has been named the player of the match. Let's talk about, until we hear from ourselves, from Ben Stokes and from Ollie Pope, just a quick look at some of the players whose names won't be in the headlights. But the opening partnership of Crawley and Duckett, they made flying starts in both innings, and I just wonder, I mean, they didn't put on 100, but they did put on 55 in flying fashion at 6 and over in the first innings, and then set England up to reach 113 for 1 in the second innings, with Crawley making 20 and 31, Duckett 35 and 47. So they're the kind of frustrating scores that we traditionally say, well, you know, once openers are in, then they need to build on scores like that. But it's the speed at which they score and the positivity with which they start the innings that I just wonder, guys, whether that takes the